Speaking of political, did you see the list that B Dot from Rap Radar put out for what was it, top 10 rappers of
Oh, I think
2022 so
everybody,
far?
I think
Well,
everybody's seen it, Mike.
let me pull it up real quick for the people who haven't seen it. Westside Gun spoke about it. He retweeted it. He said this nigga personally didn't put up Benny and Conway. So B Dot puts up the top rappers list of 2022 so far. He said this is based on skill, performance, and relevance. I'm gonna get to that point of it too because I think that's really important. For the first 6 months of 2022,
We got
Kendrick
Kendrick.
Lamar is number one. Pusha T's number two. J. Cole's number three. Kodak Black is number four. Boldy James is number five. Vince Staples is number six. Lil Durk's number seven. Lil Baby's number eight. Jack Harlow. Jack Harlow's number nine. And 21 Savage is number 10. Okay. Couple things. I'm going to get your reaction. You know, this is one thing I want to say, and I think this would be how I want to start this off. We got to get rid of this term relevance and relevant in hip hop. First of all, I never really knew what it meant. I never really understood who controlled relevance, what makes somebody relevant, what makes you irrelevant. And in today's time, when basically the people have all the voice necessary, it's even tougher and damn near impossible to even equate. I don't even know what relevance means. I think that we need to get that term out of hip hop. It has no place in hip hop. It never. I don't think it ever really had a place in hip hop. It's kind of like when MTV used to do hottest rappers list. What does hot mean? Like we were talking about this offline. You were like, Q-Tip said something about what does it mean to be hot. These are like intangible terms.
Hmm.
Really, we can't
You remember
equate
that?
that.
You
What
don't
does
remember that?
reference mean? I mean, relevant mean?
Yeah, no. I mean, it was the first time that I had heard somebody that I respected speak of it that way. I think it
Yeah,
was around the time he was coming out with Amplified, and Vibrant thing had already came out, and but Breathe and Stop hadn't came out yet. But he was talking about the process of making it. People was like, "Well, you hot right now. You got to make something hot." He's like, "Hold on, what does it mean?"
what
He's
does
like,
that
"I'm
mean?
hot right now. The track is hot. Like, what's hot? Like, he's like, what does that mean that I'm hot right now? What does it mean that the track is hot?" And so, like, when you brought up the whole relevance thing, I thought about what Q-Tip said when he was talking about what does it mean to be hot. It's like, what does it mean to be relevant in this pandemic climate right now? Because if you're talking about uh, what two of the three categories are relevance and performance, it's like, what is 20? I mean, I love 21. Is 21 Savage performing the verse that he did on Gunna's album? Because that's the only thing that he's dropped this
Right,
year.
exactly. And you know what?
Which, by the way, is one of my favorite songs this year. But
I
it's
was
like, is he
talking
really?
I was talking to a friend of mine about this whole relevance thing too, and he brought up a good point that I wasn't even thinking. On B Dot's list, he has Kendrick Lamar as number one. How is Kendrick Lamar your number one in relevance is the topic, and he hasn't dropped
Based on
anything in 5
6 months.
years? He hasn't dropped anything in 5 years. He
No, no, no,
does.
but also too.
He doesn't do any interviews. He's not featured on anything. What are you talking about relevance? How does that equate? He doesn't really put out many, what I'm saying, visuals or anything. I mean, even if you want to spin relevance as somebody that's out here putting in work, let's just say like a J. Cole or something, that doesn't apply to Kendrick.
So who paid him to say this?
I mean, yeah, a lot of people on this list look like they were paid to be on this list, to be perfectly honest with
Okay, so I'll tell you something about from my management time and my management experience. Okay, so when I used to be a beverage director or a restaurant manager, hotel manager, like all those things, when I used to be in hospitality management side of things.
you. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, Mike, when you have a big enough of a name on the building, the vendors will actually cut you a check to put their products on the list. Now, I know that happens in the hospitality business now, and we know that happens in the hip hop business as well. And this appears to be one of those things. I looked at this list, I'm like, oh, I mean, so it's like what, 50 racks to this one, 20 racks to this one, you know
Well,
what I
this is
mean?
the
Because
thing, man, and
I
we
mean, no, I'm gonna call a spade because I'm sick of the dumb shit. And it's like we're gonna call it what it is. It's like I immediately thought of Red Man's line on How High. Fuck a billboard. I'm a bullet on my block.
How you know when you pay for your billboard spot? You know, you and I talked about this. You froze. Cool. You there?
Again?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You
Yeah,
there?
I'm here. I'm here.
Look, we talked about this last episode, and we talked about people taking payola, this and that, and the third. But in situations like this, I think that even if someone did, let's just say, allegedly pay to be on this list, and we're halfway joking, you do understand that all your credibility goes out the window with putting some of these people on the list. Now, Jay Short says, I'll make it easy, Mike. Relevance equals pop/radio play. I don't think that's true because Mulatto's not on this list. How do you have 21 Savage on this list? And you got Kodak Black on this list, and you got Jack Harlow on this list, and the person that actually does have hits out there and who's very relevant in Mulatto, she's not there. Right? She just did a record with Mariah Carey. Don't get no more relevant than that, right?
No, she's doing constant collaborations.
She's doing constant collaborations. She's all over the radio.
She's all over the radio. She's doing shows almost every single night and all over social media, broadcasting the shows, photo shoots, you name it. Like, she is everywhere right now because this is her dream and what she wants to do. And doesn't it just come off a little misogynistic that they're calling people like, who on this list? Hold on, can you put the list back up right quick, Mike?
Yeah, I'm put the list back up.
Because Kodak, Savage, okay, like they don't even have material out right now, right?
Right.
Correct. Is number one on your list. His album hasn't even been out a full 30 days.
And, you know, we're going to get to this in a second.
The first 6 months of the year, right? So you're telling me after, 2 weeks, Jack Harlow's album even got shitted on by Pitchfork. I'll never talk positive about Pitchfork twice in one episode ever again. It just happened. Lil Baby had made an album since the pandemic started.
Facts.
I mean, we just got to keep it real. Lil Baby released My Turn. I think, what's that, January 2020?
Yeah.
We're in summer of 2022. How is he on this list this year?
You know, I would have been more understanding if Future would have been on the list, or even Drake, right? Like, Drake has actually put out material before, you know, some of these people.
No, this is. I mean, I just want people to understand. This is what payola looks like.
This is a weird list. And, you know, and I think
it's what it looks like when you pay for your list, and it's like you gotta do certain things to make it seem like you legit and what you know what you're talking about. The only legit person that deserves to be on that list that doesn't have an album is J. Cole.
No, real talk. Listen, I like 21 Savage. I really do.
I
like Lil Baby. He has no business on this list. And you like Lil Baby, yeah.
Hold on. Glock in My Lap with him and Gunna. Oh, that's one of my personal 5 favorite rap songs this year. I love it.
Yeah.
He don't deserve to be on this list. Lil Baby ain't dropped the album in 2.5 years. He don't deserve to be on this list.
If you want to put Gunna on this list over Lil Baby, I understand.
He's on IG all the time because his baby mama's on IG too. Is that relevancy in hip hop now? It's like, no, we got to keep the shit about the music, fam.
He said in the past 6 months, Gunna actually put out an album. That's actually doing some things. And I know Gunna's locked down right now. But he would have a better time justifying the Gunna placement on here than Lil Baby.
Yeah, Pushin' P.
Pushin' P.
Right.
This is crazy. You know, and we're not even getting to the Conway and the Benny part of it because we're gonna get to that too. But if we want to talk about radio play and this and that, it's like, no, this is different because these people, like you said, Pusha P's all over the place, and you got Lil Baby on here over Gunna. You got 21 Savage on here over Gunna. Please make this make sense. Hold on, real quick. Let me get to some of these super chats. LP says, I think it's weird that these street dudes care about what the mainstream personalities think about this. Who cares what B Dot says? He's Vibe Magazine, in my opinion. I think he's Rap Radar. But this is the thing. We have to speak on these things because these people have a large enough platform, and obviously someone like, you know, Westside, who's in the industry, he's in the industry now, they are looking and see what these people have to say. These people are speaking on certain levels for the hip hop culture. And if we don't talk about these things, as my man Star would say, a lie unchallenged becomes the truth. Jay Short says, don't find it interesting Drake isn't on this list. Don't you find it interesting that Drake isn't on this list?
This is what I mean.
I told people that bad Jack Harlow review that blamed Drake was about to knock him that top radio spot and making Jack Harlow an underdog. Yeah, I mean Jack Harlow basically is Drake, right? I'm in the belief allegedly that Drake wrote that album for Jack Harlow, but I have no proof of that. It's just my personal opinion. Reggie says, "Hey Mike, go check your mailbox for a second. Me and a couple folks in the chat need to have a word with Coop about the T-shirt stunting that he's doing on each podcast. Give up your connect, bruh." Yeah, you gotta give up the connect. We gotta deal. You gotta get together on
plugs
that.
on that. Plugs on that. Heard that. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So yes, the Gunna omission is interesting. I'm gonna get back to the list. Let me put it back on the screen. Let's just be real here. I like Vince Staples. I'm not gonna mess with Vince Staples because I actually kind of had him on my list because I like that album. Boldy James is interesting in the context that you don't have Conway or Benny here, right?
I think it's interesting in that context too.
I think the Kodak, Dirt, and Baby thing is interesting, and 21 Savage too. It's interesting when you don't have Future, Gunna, or who's the other person that I was thinking about? It'll come to me in a second. The Jack Harlow thing is interesting in the fact that, because we're talking about people who get a massive amount of radio play, you got Jack Harlow on here and you don't have Mulatto on here. That I don't understand.
Very problematic.
So yeah, nothing on this. And as far as relevance, performance, and all of that being the barometers here, Kendrick Lamar's number one. What did he mean by performance? Does he mean live performance? Does he mean record performance? It's very vague in that sense too.
I was hoping you would explain it to me.
I don't know what relevance means, and I don't know what performance means. I mean, see, this is the thing they do, and this is no disrespect to B Dot, but this is the truth, man. This is what people do when they want to feed you some BS. They come with vague criteria, and I would like for B Dot to. I don't know if he does an engaging, show or podcast like we do. But yeah, get on live or something and explain what these terms mean and explain why certain people who haven't dropped albums in years are on this list and somebody who dropped a flat out dud is on this list. Because honestly, if anybody wants to be completely real about it, the only record on Jack Harlow's album that anybody's talking about is the one with Drake on it.
Because it's trash.
And in that context, you might as well have Drake on this. It doesn't make Jack Harlow relevant because he was at the Kentucky Derby with, once again, Drake. Like, what makes Jack Harlow relevant, skilled, and performing well? Because honestly, if we want to talk about performance, if we're talking about record performance, he underperformed. They projected him to do a number that he did well below. On a skill level, no one's talking about Jack Harlow's rap skills. I mean, they're null and void, to be perfectly honest, respectfully. And as far as relevance goes, if he is quote-unquote relevant, it hasn't been in a positive light. Blue Collar Hustler says with the super chat, Drake, who can't write his own album, is writing for Jack Harlow.
I was thinking the same thing, Mike.
Well,
I was thinking the same thing. It's like, well, he ain't made nothing dope since Quentin stopped writing for him. How is he writing for Jack?
It's an interesting point. It's a fair point, and I can't really refute that, to be honest. LP says, Mike, they rap about killing their ops, effing the haters, and stunting on y'all. I killed 8 dudes, but you mad about B-Dot? Weird to me. I get us, not them.
They're not really. It don't seem weird because it's like, well, you're looking at it, it's like, well, man, these rappers are acting weird. No, they're doing the same culture check that we do a lot of the time, which is part of the reason why a lot of y'all ended up here. I was actually talking to a gentleman today who works in the financial realm, and I was explaining to him that, part of our following was built out because we've been pulling culture checks on people that really haven't been representing us right, doing right by certain people. And then it's even one of those things that we have to monitor ourselves since we've chose to monitor the situation, you know?
No, definitely. And you know what? Let's just be real. And I feel what you're saying on that end, but Conway's album that he released this year was nothing like that. Conway actually
Right.
released a very personal album and a very dope album. I actually have it in the top 5 of this year so far. We're gonna get to my list. We're gonna get to Coop's list too. So
you have it in the top 5?
I think I do. Let me go back and check, but I'm gonna put it on the
I find
screen.
that to be fascinating. You made me drop my pen.
But see, the thing is, though, to slight the work that, I mean, because, you know, you might want to say these guys is gangsters, whatever you want to say. Hip hop is their job now, and they're fully dedicated in it. They're fully invested in it. And when you put your work and your life out there, and especially the way that Conway has, and you get slighted by somebody who's supposed to be an authority on, you know, some of these lists, or I don't even want to say authority, somebody whose job it is to properly take all this stuff in and properly critique it, you got to feel a way about it. I mean, Conway didn't say he felt a way about it, but Westside was, you know, saying what he had to say as a fan of hip hop and as a fan of his guys, because they have been putting in good work.
Well, hold on. Haven't the 2 upper echelon MCs alluded to the fact that he's the brains of the operation? So that's the mind of the operation speaking.
Yeah. LP says Brandy should be on there. She watched Harlow.
She did get busy. She got busy on Harlow.
Jay Short says Drake is training his replacement and don't know it. That's funny. You know how they talk about.
I think he does know it. That's
he
how
does
this
know
gangsta
it.
shit works.
Yeah. I think he does know it.
He does know it.
I could say a lot right now, but no, that pretty much sums it up. Yeah.
When the record get the skipping and slowing down.
But see, this is the thing, and I've said this offline. I would say it here. I think Jack Harlow was an attempt for the industry to see if they could create a superstar. If they still have that ability in this social media era where people have their own voice, people speak their own shit, and everybody is not a paid operative, they wanted to see if they could create a star out of nothing. And they failed immensely. And let's be real, B-Dot. Let's be real. I'm going to talk to you straight up, man. Let's be completely real. After the fallout of this, the reaction of Jack Harlow's album and the reaction that people have had to his whole rollout, you still have him on this list? You got to explain why. How? Because again, if you want to talk about radio play, this, that, and the third, Mulatto trumps him in all of those areas, and she's gotten nothing but high marks. No one said anything negative about the music she's put out. Actually, she's getting glowing marks. She put Childish Gambino and Lil Wayne on the same record. And even if you want to talk about like relevance, let's just say in the social media sphere, when I be looking at people's reels and their timelines and, you know, their posts that they have on IG, they'll have Mulatto songs in the background. Now, the only Jack Harlow song that people have in the background is the one that y'all put all the way up in the algorithm and force people to pick. Ain't nobody else pick. You know what I mean? Like, people ain't going deep in his album. It's programming.
Lotto popping.
Lotto's popping. It is what it is. And the fact that they're not acknowledging that.
On social media? No, she popping on social media. Yeah. She's popping at her shows. She's popping with other artists. Her album is dope.
Yeah.
She's out here making hit records.
And
she's out here
rapping.
Doing dope shows.
And you know what? The thing is, when Cardi was doing the same thing.
She out here serving you simple niggas body too, because she know that's what you like too. Right.
And when Cardi was out here doing what she was doing, she was getting props for it. For whatever reason, y'all want to slight Lotto. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on.
She's actually more well-rounded than Cardi is. Of course she is.
Of course she is. That's not even close.
Like this girl is 20. This young woman is 23 years old, and rap is her career, and she's legit. And she's actually a pretty good MC, Mike.